World No Tobacco Day is observed on 31st March every year to raise awareness about the perilous consequences of chewing or smoking tobacco amongst the masses. According to the World Health Organization, tobacco is one of the major risk factors for many chronic diseases, including cancer, lung disease, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. Did you know it accounts for nearly 1.35 million deaths every year in India? Welcome to the health site. And joining us today is Dr. Manoj Goel, Director of Pulmonology, Critical Care and Sleep Medicine at Fortis Hospital, Gurgaon, who will explain the harmful effects of tobacco use and why you should stop today. So, as sir, we know that No Tobacco Day is a day we look back at the bad habit of chewing or smoking tobacco that can wreak havoc on a person's health starting from their lungs. So, my first question to you is how many chemicals does tobacco smoke contain that are harmful to a people's health?
Smoke contains innumerable chemicals. Actually, it could be as high as 7,000 chemicals, out of which 259 are supposed to be harmful to the human body, and approximately 70 of these are supposed to be carcinogenic. So it's a sort of a lethal weapon, self-inflicted injury that we do when we smoke.
And how many of them are known to cause cancer?
Around 70 of them, as I told you, like they've got the benzene, the radioactive chemicals like polonium, chromium, cadmium, methane, hydrocarbons, a lot of them. So these chemicals are really harmful and can lead to carcinogenic effect in the body.
Okay. So, what are the risks of smoking tobacco? How does it affect different parts of the body?
See, one thing is that we believe that smoking is basically harmful to the lungs, but it is not the fact. The thing is, the small smoke particles get absorbed into the blood circulation, and they are circulated all over the body. So it is carcinogenic. It can cause CA lung, that is carcinoma of the lung. It can cause CA the throat, the buccal mucosa, the oral cancers. Besides that, can cause cancer of the pancreas, stomach, urinary bladder, and many other organs which are not directly in contact with the smoke. So it's highly carcinogenic. Second thing is it reduces the immune response of the body to various infections, especially the sinusitis, the lower respiratory tract infection, bronchitis, pneumonias. Third thing is that it can have various cardiovascular consequences, like more incidence of coronary artery disease, heart attacks, weakening of the main vessel of the body, that aorta, lead to aortic aneurysm. Then in lungs, of course, it can cause chronic obstructive lung disease, it can cause bronchial asthma. To know that it can also cause, in women, the difficulty in conceiving. I mean, the women who smoke, so and various, malformations in the infant. So it has enormous effects, immunological effects, the carcinogenic effect, infectious effect. So it is really, really very dangerous.
So studies have also shown that second-hand smoke is equally as harmful. So how does it affect people, especially children and pregnant women?
See, that's a very important question, and the smokers think that it is not going to be harmful to the family members, but the fact is it is, because they are exposed to second-hand smoke. Whatever they exhale, gets circulated in the atmosphere, in the home surroundings, and then this bad air which is contaminated with the smoke is inhaled by the family members, and this really affects the children. Especially, they can suffer from acute bronchitis, pneumonias, asthma attacks, and similarly, pregnant women can have various consequences of smoking. So, second-hand smoking is as dangerous. It can also lead to cancers to the fellows, the family members of the smokers. The same consequences of a smoker that is there, of a smoking that is there, are also seen in the family members of these smoking people.
So what about third-hand smoke? Is that dangerous as well?
See, third-hand smoke is a new terminology which has come up. So what actually happens is that this smoke, the smoke particles, the dangerous particles remain suspended in the air, and they get deposited on the various surfaces, like the linen, the curtains, our own articles that we use, like computers. And when you dust them, then they come into the atmosphere, and then somebody inhales them. Then again they become as dangerous as a second-hand smoke or first-hand smoke. And the problem is that these particles may remain there in the home surroundings for a long period of time. So the smoking is a very important source of indoor pollution. So it is makes the indoor atmosphere polluted, and mixed with other indoor pollutants, it magnifies the problem of pollution and the dangerous consequences of the human body. So that way, again, the non-smoking family members, like children, the family, the women, they get exposed to this the third-hand smoke, and also suffer from the same dangerous consequences of smoking.
When we talk about, people are aware of the smoke, the harmful effects of smoke. So some people go for e-cigarettes and other vaping products. Are they safe alternatives to cigarettes?
See, what happens is, uh, in the e-cigarette, a vapor is generated. Okay,
Mhm.
but this vapor also has the irritants and the chemicals. It is not chemical free. It also has some element for nicotine, the polyvinyl aldehyde, glycerine. And one thing is that they also have harmful contents. And what happens is that it basically becomes a habit in the teenage. And many times it has been, they start off with the e-cigarette and vaping, and then they go on to jump, the proper smoking. So it has been seen that in teenage groups, the teenagers, they start off with the vaping, and then they go into the proper smoking. The other thing is that any kind of a smoke is irritant to the airways. Like people who are sensitive get the bouts of asthma when they were even exposed to the perfumes, or some chonka is done in the kitchen, and they come up with extreme coughing and wheezing. So the irritant effect of the vaping is also there.
Yeah.
And so far it has been proved that they are not safe. Absolutely, they are not safe. So it can lead to the same consequences of smoking. And as of now, they are not recommended as a replacement for the smoking.
What are the so if a person decides to quit tobacco, what are the benefits? How does it affect the bodies? Like, do body of the person, does it like lead to any changes in the body?
Yes, it does. I mean, the pulse rate tends to settle down, the blood pressure tends to settle down. There's a feeling of well-being which comes,
Mhm.
and the long-term consequences of smoking, like cancers, infections, pneumonias, bronchitis, COPD, they
Mhm.
are reduced over a period of time. So whatever damage is being done to the body undergoes a reversible process after that many times, to a certain extent, and reduces the risk significantly. But the thing is, the earlier that you quit the smoking, the more beneficial it would be. So it really turns around the life of the patient, and also you save a lot of money. That is also important.
So, speaking of the current scenario, are smokers more likely to develop COVID-19 compared to non-smokers?
See, there is no evidence that the smokers are more likely to develop COVID infection, but we know that the smoking is associated with weak lungs, various
Mhm.
comorbidities like hypertension, the cardiovascular diseases. And these are the people who are more at risk of having a serious disease. So yes, indirectly, smoking leading to comorbid conditions can lead to, the serious COVID infection. So therefore, indirectly, it is yes related, but not directly.
Okay. Okay. So, also coming to the coronavirus vaccine, how many days should one avoid smoking before and after getting the vaccine?
There is no such recommendation that if you're
Mhm.
going for vaccination, for that matter, for any other vaccination, that you have to stop smoking. But for that matter, I mean, any chance that click triggers in your behavior that you should stop this habit, then that should be a welcome sign. So, but directly, there is no connection of stopping smoking or continuing smoking with vaccination.
Okay. So, what would you suggest people can do to quit the use of smoke tobacco?
See, first of all, they have to have confidence and belief in themselves, and they should have a desire to quit. That is number one. Number two, they should believe that they will find, some difficult times during the initial days, maybe a week or so, for which they should be mentally prepared, and they should be family supported by their family. Then they must also set a timeline that yes, I have to quit it. They must remove all the ashtrays, the cigarette bundles and BDs and all from the house. Absolutely, they must throw it out.
Yes.
Third thing is they must indulge in an activity which avoids the chance of smoking. Suppose he's alone, then he can mix up with the family or mix up with the friends, or can do a little bit of jogging, go upstairs, down, up and down the upstairs, these stairs. Thirdly, you should avoid the triggers which can cause smoking. For example, a friend circle where he goes and smoking starts. That is one thing. Similarly, they find some alibi that for getting fresh, one has to smoke. So those kind of situations they must avoid, and that time they must forbid it. They must do some light exercises or vigorous exercises, right? Keep a positive thought. They must think that after quitting the smoking, there is a positive way of living. You not only save yourself, but you also save your family members. You, of course, um, uh, save some money. So there are many positive aspects. A strong mindset and positive outlook towards quitting smoking is the key, which is supported by the family members all the time.
So tobacco is banned in many places, but people use it nonetheless. What else can the government and the society as a whole can do to curb the use of tobacco?
See, one thing that I always say: the health is our responsibility. It is not a. It is could be a state responsibility, but ultimately is your health, and you have to see that you do not indulge in activity which can, affect your health and the health of, your near ones and dear ones. So that is something very important. So it's our responsibility. We all know that smoking is injurious to health, and knowing very well that even if we indulge into that, that means only we are to be blamed for. So
Yes.
first thing is that we should realize the harmful effects of it and should not start using it. It should not start smoking. Second thing is the prices of the the tobacco products should be increased as much as possible, so that they cannot be, is readily available. And there must be some rationing also. There must be some strict curbs that one cannot, go for, more than this number of packets or something of that. Some litigation and strict prohibition of smoking in the public places. Those things are very important. So I think, and some, the NGOs, who can come over and who can, support these people, because they do need some, psychological support, social support while quitting smoking. So that becomes, very important aspect also in this process.
Thank you, sir, for answering all our questions today and giving us your time. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.